Hello, everyone. So it's 11 o'clock. It's still Wednesday, and I'm still getting my Hulu in now. And it's the first Wednesday of... get that light out of the way. The first Wednesday of the month of August. So that means I gotta get my Bleach one. My obligatory, my standard Bleach who would win. As I've been going through the captions. Give me 1 second to get that notes up here. Where are you? There you are. So... and I'm just about done with the captains. We're on Squad 12 Captain Mayuri Kurotsuchi. And I tried to look up some English dub for Franken Stein, or Franken Stein from Soul Eater, his opponent today, but I couldn't find it, so I'm not going to bother doing it, trying to do his imitated voice. But I can do Mayuri Kurotsuchi quite well if I really put my effort into it. And it's the battle of the mad scientists today. That is pretty much what it is. And I mean, there's plenty of options. I heard people. I've seen I could have easily done Orochimaru versus Mayuri, but I don't think that one really would have been all that fantastic. Just because I think Mayuri actually takes that fight pretty easily. Just because Orochimaru's abilities don't really tailor itself to a fight against someone who's like Mayuri. There's another guy from One Piece I could have used, but Franken Stein actually seemed the most unique and interesting, as the series Soul Eater does revolve around Soul's energy that's not like chakra or like the gum or the devil fruit or anything like that. It actually revolves around spiritual energy to a degree and spiritual elements, so he kind of seemed like a better fit for Mayuri. Excuse me. Well, let's get into it. Mayuri Kurotsuchi. I'm not going to go into their physical stats because that almost never plays a factor in these fights. But he's the captain of Squad 12, which is the Research and Development Division. And he is, by definition, he is your clear mad scientist. He is a sadist. He loves to torture. I like to take things apart, put them together, and take them apart again just to see how they work. I sound a little bit like Frieza at the moment. But you could actually make an argument that they do kind of have a similar voice. But no, he's extremely resourceful, usually having backup plans for backup plans. He's kind of like Batman in that regard. But it's all for the benefit of it's further research. Now he will kill an opponent if he really just doesn't feel he can take them alive. But he'd rather, especially if it's an opponent that interests him. He'd rather take them, even if he's killing them, keep their body intact, so I can study them and do more research. Now, that being said, he does have a bit of a soft side when it comes to his created/adopted daughter, Nemu. He pretty much created a girl from nothing, and that's not creepy at all. Kind of like Pinocchio, but she doesn't really want to be a real girl. She just wants to serve her master. But he's a master inventor, master strategist, master tactician, genius in general. And he's invented so many such wonderful things, such as a regeneration serum, which can pretty much just regrow limbs. The only downside is there's a lot of pain that goes involved with it. Almost enough to make me lose my mind. It hurts so much. He also has many different drugs. Now, not all of them would be relevant in the fight. He does carry the actual drug for the superhuman one, which enhances their sentences and perception of time on him. But the only reason that really worked was because he was able to, it was in Nemu, and his opponent just happened to be unique enough to absorb it from Nemu. But he does have a drug that stops thought processes and basically cause nerve death, things along those lines. He used it against Pernida, who only really survived because Pernida could regenerate his nerves. He has Reishi balls, which basically, Reishi being spiritual energy, collects spiritual energy, a set amount, and then he can basically release it after a set time. He has a precognition drug, which he used against Toshiro Hitsugaira, which, if you know Naruto, is kind of like the Izanami. Essentially, the person who's affected by a drug gets stuck kind of like in a time loop. The moment they kill Mayuri, they go back to the moment pretty much when pretty much before the beginning of the fight. And the only way to kind of break out of it is to not kill Mayuri. So there's that. He's got that fun little bit of drug. And if you, by the way, if after like 10 loops, you pretty much become fully paralyzed, like full paralysis. Moving on. Oh, he's got rocket shoes. Basically, he's got not rocket shoes per se, but he's got. Actually, did I write down the name of this? Oh yes, Hieren Koku shoes. Basically allows him to float a couple inches off the ground, which helps him avoid ground-based attacks. He can basically enhance them with a button to kind of propel them like rockets, almost like skates, pretty much. He's got nerve freezing agent, as I mentioned before. Genius. He's a genius level indirect. He's got what was this one? He's got a grappling hook arm. He's got a hidden Kurzama, basically a sickle scythe. Well, a chain scythe hidden in his ear. And what was that other one? Stab into. We can stab himself with his Bankai sword, and basically turn himself into liquid to avoid attacks. It pretty much prevents him from attacking, but also prevents him from being attacked. Now, he's also a Keto expert. He's a competent swordsman, but compared to most of the other characters in Bleach, he's not an expert swordsman. His Zanpakuto, or as known as Agasoji Jizo. Agasoji Jizo. See, I can say it when I'm doing his voice, but I can't say it normally. Agasoji Jizo? Well, Agasoji Jizo. See, I can do it with his voice. That's weird. Essentially, he takes the form of a trident with a baby's face on it. And its command is crawl out. And he draws it from his crotch. Kind of like a creepy pervert, admittedly. But its ability evolves around a paralytic poison numbing agent, to call it what you will, from the sword. Pretty much it paralyzes the nerves, it paralyzes the body, but not the nerves. You'll still feel pain. So if you get hit, you might not be able to move a certain part of your body or the entire thing. He can also, when stabbing your opponent, stick his finger in one of the eyes of Agasoji Jizo, and do a different venom or different poison that pretty much is a higher paralytic that pretty much prevents all like nerve function. Though Kenpachi was beast enough to still be able to move his eye, which even he marked as like, "You really are a beast, aren't you, Kenpachi?" Then the Bankai is Kon Agasoji Jizo, which he's modified it in the past. He can actually modify his Bankai, but for the sake of this fight, we'll just use the basic one, which takes the form of a giant caterpillar baby. It's a huge giant caterpillar with a baby's face. Its main function is basically to release a large amount of poison that has no it has an antidote, but it's has no that has no basic cure other than the antidote that Nemu keeps. It can be somewhat acidic too, but normally it's just designed for killing. Also has blades for offensive capabilities like physical offensive that are hidden right underneath its neck. So yeah, giant blades in that. Mayuri is also a Shunpo expert, which is, Shunpo user. So he's flash step, super speed, all that good stuff. And but he's also quite arrogant, likes to toy with his opponents, and he'll monologue and even give away some of his techniques just to see if they can counteract him. Because both him and Franken Stein share that everything in their life is an experiment. So yeah, they share that belief. Now Franken Stein from Soul Reader is human for the most part, but he loves to dissect. He just has the urge to take things apart to see how they work. It's clear that, and it's evident that he's worked on himself as well, from the stitches on his body and his clothes. He has a very sadistic side as well, and he's got madness in him, but fortunately his weapon, demon weapon, I believe they're called, Mjolnir. She's got a full name, but we're calling him Mjolnir for this. He's also had the other one before, Spirit, who was his death scythe, but he can only have one in this circumstance, so we're just going to use this. He also used a lantern at one point, but we're just going to use Mjolnir. She's able to heal and keep the madness at bay in him, as well as heal the madness in others. Now, Frankenstein is unique among a lot of Soul Eater characters in the sense that he's actually quite capable without his weapon. He's capable of using an ability called Soul Menace though I believe read it when I was reading the dub. It was like or the sub, it was like soul shock or something like that. Basically, he's capable of a lot of interesting like electrical attacks, a derivative from his soul. He's also capable of doing some soul stitching, basically stitching in a person or himself to a surface, keeping them grounded. But no, he's capable of many different forms of electrical attacks, including, just shocking you. But also there's a special move he can do where it's like 3 consecutive shock fists at once, which can cause major internal damage. And just 2 palms doing a super blast of electrical damage for his soul menace. He's soul perception, where he can sense souls. He actually senses the characteristic personality of an individual through that. So hiding's out. I should also note Mayuri's good at camouflage. It's going to play a factor in the very beginning of this fight. He's actually a master at hand-to-hand combat. Very skilled in it. Heightened strength, endurance, speed. He can move at a blur. He can move so fast that he looks like a blur. He's an expert scythe wielder or scythe meister. Scythe meister, hammer meister, Toffa master, which is another form that Mjolnir takes. He's just an expert in physical combat in general. Now Mjolnir basically can take the form of either Toffa, or Tofa, depending how you pronounce it, which are guards. It's basically like a billy club, but it's better for close quarter combat, and for basically a hammer, Mjolnir. That's why she's named Mjolnir. Now she's got several special abilities. Again, healing, containing the madness, healing the madness. Electrical techniques similar to him, but one is lightning rope, which basically enhances the user's. By user, we're talking about the user of the weapons. Physical speed and abilities, and in lightning rope form, and just as it's called on the page, it's pretty much just he's described looking or acting kind of like a Kishin. He kind of goes a little mad, but not full mad, but he goes a little wild. And everything's just enhanced to a great degree, but it's a very tiring form after a while. It will really wear him out. Triquefa or Triquef, I'm guessing, attack. Essentially, when using top form, the weapon becomes like a malleable light form, and it takes this symbol shape, which just grows, and then eventually, as it's moving, hits the opponent and does massive damage. But it can tire Mjolnir herself out. And that's about it in terms of the all that Frankenstein really brings to the fight. Now, Frankenstein does have his weakness too. Like, he's only human, and he's very perceptible to his madness. If it wasn't for Mjolnir in this fight, he'd probably have. I'm kind of stuttering. I'm stuttering a little bit. I'm not trying to. Without Mjolnir by there, he'd risk succumbing to madness. He'd have to be fighting off the madness as well, because if he goes mad, then, he could be completely utterly sadistic and horrifying. But anyway, how does this fight break down? Well, this fight, I think, somehow, some way, Frankenstein winds up in the Soul Society. Let's say a lot of the Soul Eater cast winds up in the Soul Society, the Ryoka. And, Frank's wandering around, and Mayuri picked up on this interesting Ryatsu from him, and he's just hiding there, and he's got his camouflage on. However, Frank stops, and immediately asks Mjolnir to go into weapon form. For this, by the way, it's technically 2-on-1, but we're going to just keep Mjolnir weapon form, even though I don't think it really would matter that much. And just says, it's like, I can sense you. It's no good. It's no good trying to hide from me. I could just find an ant. I could find an ant in the mud hills. And then Mjolnir's like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? He's like, well, I mean, I could find an ant in the mud. It's like, did I really do such a poor job at hiding? Jin just, appears and say, and she would say, no, not really, actually. If it wasn't for the fact that I could sense you, I probably wouldn't even notice you there. Really? You were able to sense my presence, my Ryatsu? Not quite. I was able to sense your soul. And Mayuri can clearly tell Mayuri's kind of similar to his dark side. He can sense the sadisticness, the madness, but the inner joy at his madness too. So they're going to exchange things, and they're both kind of gonna get a little excited. It's like, really? So that you're a Shinigami? And it's like, what's that like? It's like, oh, it's not bad, but I'm more interested in you with your abilities, your very interesting abilities. Why would you say, after all, from one scientist to another, wouldn't it be wonderful to share your gifts with me? It's like, well, wouldn't be wonderful to share your gifts with me? Oh, you flirt! Unfortunately, I feel you won't be, I didn't write any real dialogue, but I feel like you won't be coming voluntarily. It's like, I could say the same for you. And then Frankenstein's just going to blur behind him, say, come in with Mjolnir. Disappears the rears behind Mayuri. However, Mayuri's just going to sense this and just shoot him both hands, and Frankenstein's going to be like, huh? Mayuri comes there with sword drawn, and, crawl out, Agesoshi Jizo. And then it's about to swipe him. He backpedals, like, very good. For a Ryoka, your reflexes are quite impressive, and your speed is phenomenal. However, being a captain of the 13th Corps Guard Squad, I have to admit, I expected a little bit more from the pesky Ryoka. It's like, true, but I was like, you haven't seen anything yet, though I am curious. Seems you got your own weapon. Oh, yes, the Zanpakuto is a magnificent tool. Mine, for instance, can paralyze anyone with a single cut. Please allow me to demonstrate. And where did I, and allow me to demonstrate. Goes in, tries to cut, they have a bit of a combat spar. They have a bit of a close range fight. Frank's I think, got an edge over Mayuri in just actual pure physical combat. Gets a hit in on Mayuri. Mayuri nearly cuts him. He backpedals again. He's like, whoa, I'm going to have to stay out of range of that. Oh, no. I was like, oh, will you? And then, does his grapple arm. It's like, oh, boy. And Frank's about to, do his soul menace. But all of a sudden, it's like, it's a Hado 31. Shakaho red flare cannon. And you see the red flare cannon going from his grappling arm. He does a double palm real quick just to blow it up. Get out of the way. He's singed, his coat's burnt up a bit, but he's still generally okay. Mayuri's like, and then Mayuri's just like, oh dear. It's like, well, I can't seem to remember the last time I had this problem. And then detach his arm. However, while he's detaching his arm, Mayuri suddenly sees a light and gets hit again by Solmus in lightning rope form by Franken Stein. So he gets blindsided. He's like, ugh! So now he's kind of getting pressured on a bit as he's trying to basically get out of the way. I imagine Frank would use the trifecta, I guess, or maybe that's what it was, trifecta or trio. They basically the energy attack. That's the symbol, and almost misses Mayuri, but hits him just enough. Mayuri takes another bit of damage to his side. Now Mayuri's a little worse for wear, but he's like, you really are being difficult. Now then, why don't you? And then he just, oh dear, I forgot it. And then she's like, this has been a long time since I had this problem. Then she regrets it. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. My, how this hurts. Almost enough to make me lose my mind. It hurts so much. So Frank just smiles and goes in again. Basically, Frank goes in for a close range hand-to-hand combat. Mary's making a few other cons, and eventually he overcomes Mayuri physically and just takes his head off with Mjolnir, only to find him back at the point earlier, a few moments ago, where he realizes that he's having a bit of deja vu. He's like, didn't this just happen? He's like, didn't what just happen? I'm sorry, were you paying attention to something? I thought you were going to kill me. And then the fight goes on again. Does it again, kills him again. You're probably wondering at this point what's happening. You've killed me now 3 or 4 times. Well, let me tell you. And as he gets killed again, boom, 5 times. It's like, you're in a loop. See, a few moments ago, I injected a special drug that basically keeps you in a perpetual loop of mental time. The only way out of it, only to break the loop, is to not kill me. However, the problem is, by the time you figure that out, your short-term memory will erase the entire events. Events have transpired, and then you will be back to where you were, and we'll be having this fun little conversation for another 5 or 10 minutes before you collapse out of paralysis. Collapse from paralysis by doing it 10 times. And then the fun really begins. As I get my research subject. Now, unfortunately for Mayuri, there are 2 individuals that can hear him say this. However, only one is affected by the drug. Therefore, the other one can actually tell him how to get out of the loop. So, before he succumbs to the paralysis, Mjolnir actually informs him what's going on. He calms down just enough, and through whatever means breaks the loop. Now at that point, comes in again, and this time does a triple energy palm soul menace attack, and just lays it into Mayuri, who's surprised. How did you break it out? It's like, yeah, I'm not the only one here. And then Mjolnir just, hello, just smashes him in the face. Mayuri's now definitely more than a little surprised at this, but he's Mayuri. He's pretty durable. He's taken a fuck ton of hits in his day. However, using the lightning roll form has been seriously fatiguing Franken Stein, so they're both now hurting. So Frank decides to revert back to his normal form so he can conserve what energy he has left. At that point, though, Mayuri basically just says, Mayuri more or less says, saying, "Oh, to hell with this then. I was hoping that I could use you as a live research specimen, but your corpse will do just as fine." They're both confused about that, and then I just hear, "Bankai, Konagesozi Jizo," and then giant caterpillar comes, just giant cloud of poison engulfs the area. Frank can't get out of there in time, and he's inhaling poison. Now he's just it's like, what's this? The poison that my Bankai produces can affect anyone and anything. The only way not to avoid it is to be, well, me. Which I don't think you are. And then just does that creepy Mayuri smile. And then, Frank tries to stand up again, the blades, and he just skewers Frank, and Frank would die. Mjolnir probably wouldn't be coming out of it either. So, yeah, I give this to Mayuri. Not full on, though, because I think there's a scenario where Frank could push him to his limits before doing Bankai, and if he doesn't get poisoned beforehand, yeah, Frank could get him in close quarter combats and just get a few good solid hits and maybe do like a full-on electrical attack to his head, maybe blow his head up. Then, yeah, I think he could beat Mayuri. But the problem with Mayuri is that he's got, and this is just the stuff that he kind of has all around. Some of them, like the Reishi balls I mentioned, which I didn't even bring up, he prepared those for a fight for a special opponent. And I didn't even bring up half the stuff he prepared for special opponents. If he's got ability, he wants to create dummy organs of himself. If he was prepared for this fight with dummy organs against Frankenstein, yeah, he'd be fucking Frankenstein with electricity wouldn't really do him. I might hurt, but it wouldn't do any internal damage because he wouldn't have anything internally to damage at that point. So it's very interesting to think how this fight would go if Mayuri had all his tricks. Mayuri's just got too much backup plans, normally speaking, and just too much, gadgets and messed up, warped scientific shit going into him. But I would give this about 80% to Mayuri, but I think there's a 20% area where Frank definitely comes out with a win, but I'd say about 80% Mayuri. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Ideas for who would win: Star Wars, superhero, what ifs, magic, superhero. Did I mention superhero? Dragon Ball. Anything I do on the channel, put in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to it at some point. Tomorrow will be magic. It will be what if, and it will be Dark Tower. Yeah, we'll see how Dark Tower goes. The movie's only 135 minutes long. No, excuse me, it's 95 minutes long. It's barely over an hour and a half. That's a short fucking movie. For the Dark Tower, I would expect the Dark Tower to be at least 2 hours long. If you want to try to make a competent, cohesive film. But just over an hour and a half? We'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time, folks.